Hello, everyone, and welcome to What's Streamin, a brand new podcast brought to you by the Streamer.com. This week, we're headed to the Upside Down to talk all things Stranger Things 4 Volume 2. For the first ever episode, I'm joined by Streamer Editor in Chief Mo and Senior Writer Rob. How are we doing, guys?
Doing great. Doing great.
I'm doing fine. I'm very, very much okay. How are you, Josh?
Yeah, no, I'm not too bad. I'm very excited. Yeah, just a bit of information about the podcast. Every week, I'm going to be joined by a rotation of guests as we discuss what we've been watching on streaming services. It could be an old title, could be a new one. We might even have reviews of upcoming titles in the future. Yeah, just going to be playing around with the format a bit, trying to get as many people on as possible. So yeah, Stranger Things. What did we think? We'll start with you, Mo.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that Volume 2 was weaker than Volume 1, only because I felt that Volume 1, part of what I thought, part of why I liked Volume 1 is because it seemed to set up really clearly where Volume 2 was going to go. And it didn't go as far as I wanted it to go, because it's obvious that the things that it set up, that Volume 1 set up, they're going to be covered in Season 5 more thoroughly. I thought Volume 1 set up a lot of things very nicely, presumably for Volume 2, but evidently it didn't. And so I think Volume 2, as much as I liked Volume 1, Volume 2 actually like lessened the impact of Volume 1 for me a little bit. So it made it a little bit weaker in my eyes. And I also think that, yeah, Volume 2, it didn't deliver on everything that I wanted it to deliver on, because I thought, like, yeah, there's just some weird, like, this is general thoughts, by the way. I'll get more specific later on as we get further into the discussion. But anyway, yeah, weaker than Volume 1, but still by no means a bad 4 hours of television.
Do you think your thoughts would have changed if all of season 4 was released in one go and the volumes concept wasn't a thing?
Mm,
Um,
yeah. Hmm. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, because I think there's there's like a creativity aspect to releasing it in. Obviously, they want to sustain membership. There's like a commercial aspect to it, but from like an audience watching perspective and from a creative perspective, there's a reason that they chose to do the 7-2 split. For whatever reason that may be, it could have just been a purely like, we're pressed for time editing way, we've got a timeline that we're going to be able to edit these episodes by. um but but yeah, I think there's like a creative element at play there, because they want people to like sit with it. So I think that had they released it all together, it would have landed, the whole season 4 would have landed a lot better. But the intentional choice to split, like just separate those two episodes, was a bit of a weird one for me. But yeah.
awesome. What about you, Rob? What did you think?
Kind of on the same vein as Mo with it. Um, by no means was it bad in any way. I think the episodes were solid. I just think Volume 1 was a setup for what was supposed to be Volume 2, but then Volume 2 left me, in a way, it left me satisfied with most of the subplots that they tied up, but it didn't mesh as well together as like a pairing for me. I think when I first watched episode 8, I was very iffy on it, but then after I watched episode 9, I realized I liked episode 8 a lot more.
Yeah.
But as like an individual episode, without the context of 9, 8 was weaker for me.
Okay.
But I loved the finale. I think that they nailed it. It just didn't, it felt like they were building, and then when it got to like a climactic moment where I thought they were gonna go, it just like stopped, and then they like had the big finish, and it was very, very confusing. But it's not bad because it didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go. It was just unexpected because I thought I had figured everything out, but I hadn't.
Yeah.
But overall, it was super duper solid. Especially the finale. I thought the finale was great. I think they had the benefit of the 2.5 hour runtime to tie up every single subplot of the season. And the ending was what, like, I've never had a show leave me so jaw dropped before, the way that they just ended that. So
I'm gonna chime in here and say that obviously I know Josh has his own thoughts to say about the length and the runtime. To my eye, I did a tweet yesterday about how like whip sharp the editing was because I thought it was edited really well. It was paced really well. And even though, yes, you look down and you were like, oh my goodness, there's still an hour left or an hour and a half left, or that coda at the end with the 2 days later, you would have thought that would be reserved for like 5 minutes, and then you look down and it's like, oh my goodness, there's 20 minutes left.
Yeah.
So I get that, but at the same time, it's not like it's one thing when you look at that and you see X number of minutes left and you're like, oh God, there's still so much left. Like I was during the Essex Serpent, which I despised. But I literally I watched it for what felt like 40 minutes, and it was still like 40 minutes left of the episode, and it's an hour long episode. It was horrible. Anyway, but yeah, no, I think there's like there's a difference between that and there's a difference between looking down and being like, oh my goodness, what else could they possibly do? Like, I don't feel safe by this. But yeah, anyway, I preempted your runtime thing. Sorry, Josh.
No, it's fine. No, I did like Vol.2. Obviously, I preferred Vol.1, but when you're comparing 7 episodes to 2, it is what it is. But for me, it wasn't so much that, oh, there's an hour left. I think it was just after Vecna had disappeared, and he'd been Molotoved. I was like, oh, there's 40 minutes left. Like, what is gonna give reason for 40 minutes of TV now? But I did really like the cliffhanger. I think this show has been building up to the convergence of Hawkins and the Upside Down, and I'm really excited for whatever they're going to do for season 5. And part of me was sort of when obviously the party are taking on Vecna. I knew that they weren't going to kill him off. There's no way you build up and you hype up your biggest villain ever and kill him off with the thought that there is still one more season left. I think maybe Netflix were a bit reluctant to say that there was a 5th season coming after this. I would have loved it if we thought this was the end, and then slap bang in a week there is a season 5. It's going to be the last one, that sort of thing. So that sort of ruined it a little bit for me. But Vecna is still really good, so I'm excited to see what's next.
Same here, and I agree with that. I don't know actually. I think it was good to announce an end date for it because that end date got people a lot more hyped. Like the fact that season 5 is going to be the final one got people a lot more hyped for season 4 because they're like, okay, we're finally going to have to start getting some answers now.
Yeah.
So I think from a marketing perspective, it was really, really like I have no issues with it, and because now it's not going to get dragged out forever, and there are going to be answers. Like I think I said in my reviews for season 4 when I did cover it, it was you got answers to questions you didn't even know you had. Because so far all the villains, like the overarching villains for each of the Stranger Things seasons, have been largely separate entities, and it's just always been like a new villain that we're going to base on a Dungeons and Dragons character or whatever, and then seeing it all linked back is really, really good because you don't realize like because you sort of get this answer of oh my goodness, they've been working, this has been the plan all along. I was saying to Rob earlier today, like, as far as contradictions or plot holes goes, the only one I can think of is Will's birthday.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only one that I can think of, and that was this season, and we all know how pressed they were with editing it. But yeah, so I think it's been like it is a really, really classic, like it's just a good example of like great television. Just seeing all these things that they call chapters, their episodes, but seeing the chapters just like all linked together, and you're wondering, why is it chapters, not just normal names or whatever. But
Yeah.
it is. I find it like, I just think it's, as far as like the structure of the show and how it's like presented and everything, I just find it really unique and innovative. I think it reads like a book series, or it watches like a book series, with this overarching villain that you don't even think like, yeah. Anyway, that's yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so in preparation for the first episode, I thought I'd put some questions together, and I also took to Twitter to see if they have any questions for us. My first one is, we know that Stranger Things 5 will be the culmination of the show. What is one thing you want to see happen during the final season? We'll start with you, Rob.
Mike's dad needs to fight like any Demogorgon and just like kick butt. That's what he needs to do. I love Mike's dad, and now that the merging of the two is the merging of the Upside Down, and I guess we'll just say Hawkins now is really about to start happening, and we see that Mike's family is still there, and I would hope that now that it is becoming more public, and that probably everyone left in Hawkins is about to find out what's been going on this entire time, I bet there'll be a moment where like some really bad stuff is happening, and one of the people in the group is going to have to get like a megaphone, and where everybody's gathered in the town and just like explain everything as well as they can. And then I don't know, I think what more specific than just Mike's dad, I think I would love to see like the people that are left in Hawkins decide to like stay and fight, and it's like not just the group fighting, but it's actually the group plus a bunch of citizens, like in this big almost battle against what's probably going to be an army of Demodogs and Demogorgons, with Vecna and the Mind Flayer in the background, hovering above it all. Like, I'm ready for some climactic, gigantic battles against like an army. That's what I want.
Yeah, the mention of obviously a battle and the armies, it just brought me back to reading the Percy Jackson films, and it just reminded me of that last book, and I was like, this could be really, really good. So I'm very excited. What about you, Mo? What's one thing you want to see in season 5?
One thing I want to see is just Will's sexuality come out, please. Right, because they can't keep on doing this.
I really thought we were going to get it in volume 2.
I thought we were going to get it as well. You don't set up something like that in episode 1 of a season and then don't resolve it by the finale. Like, it's Chekhov's gay. But yeah, I think it's incredibly frustrating, and I understand that there's like a journey to it, but it feels now, had they resolved it by the end of the season, it would have felt less like a reveal. Now it feels like a reveal because there's stringing it along. Like, they explicitly set it up in the first episode of the season, and they're just stringing it along to the next season, and it's really annoying. But aside from that, the other thing that I want to see is, I want to see redemption for all the characters that have been vilified by Hawkins. So, or vilified or forgotten by Hawkins. So, you've got Bob, you've got Barb, and you've got Eddie. Rest in peace, King.
RP, man.
Yeah. So I want to see a redemption for them, maybe in the form of like a statue or like naming the school after them or something like that, or I don't know.
The Eddie Munson Middle School.
High school, but they never graduated. Oh my god.
Something for all the lovely side characters they decide to introduce every season and then kill them before it
Yeah, the
ends.
red shirts.
Yeah.
But
It's something
yeah.
for them.
But as far as a resolution, I don't know how I think the season's going to end. Or how I think the series is going to end. Actually, I don't see it ending in a. I need a main character to die, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, one is gonna have to.
All right. So in my notes, this is going to sound very extreme, but I've said I think either one of Will or Mike will die. Especially with all the teasing and I just think it'd be like heartbreaking, and I don't think the Duffer Brothers would be afraid to go down that route, which is quite evil, I think.
Will's not going to die.
Well, you don't know that I want to know why he's still connected to things, why he's still getting the neck tingles.
No, Will's not going to die because he is gay, and
Yeah.
you don't kill off a gay character.
Gosh, yeah.
Well, we'll kill Mike then.
Yeah,
surely.
Yeah, Mike can die.
Honestly, Mike, like when it came to like the body count thing the Duffer Brothers talked about, that was overhyped in a way. For Volume 2, I was leaning with like Mike's gonna go. And if it wasn't this, if it wasn't this, then I think final season, I feel like Mike to definitely go as a plot point for, I mean, his relationship with Will and his relationship with Eleven, who are like the two most key players to anything linked to the Upside Down. So,
I don't want to see any of the adults die apart from. No, I don't actually want to see any of the adults die.
Not Murray, not Hopper, not Joyce.
Not Hopper, not Joyce, not and I don't like. I think Jonathan, like, he didn't have a lot to do this season. But I feel like. What, Rob? Do you want to say something?
I don't like Jonathan. I've never liked Jonathan as a character. I've seen like from the first season, whenever he was taking pics of Steve and Nancy through the window, to this season where his character has been made just for a majority of it at least, until like the last episode, whenever he has like a heart-to-heart talk with Will.
Yeah.
He's just been made just like a pothead in a way. It's a very stereotypical version of it. And I've just never liked his characterization. I've always thought him and Nancy being together is weird. And like they didn't cut things off at the end of the season. Like Nancy and him are still very much in denial that their relationship is okay, but it's not, and it's very clear that it's not. They're just not communicating with each other at all. I'm very much like, I love Steve. I want to see Steve happy. Like him and Nancy being together is like, we need that for season 5, especially because he told her that he had a dream where he and her had 6 kids together. And then they go back and it's just like, oh, Jonathan, we're okay. I don't know.
I do agree. I don't think that Jonathan and Nancy belong together. And I feel like she was with him out of pity rather than out of.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that sounds a bit harsh. And I don't think that Jonathan as a character has grown enough to have a romantic relationship. I feel like he needs to work on his relationship with himself and his family first, before then going out to spread his crazy onto, because he's going through things as well, like they all are, but at the same time it's like he's not really, whereas Steve, he's grown so much from being a bully to being just the most beloved character of all. And I think, yeah, it would be heartbreaking if Dustin died.
Man, I like right before we were about to watch the finale, I was talking to my girlfriend, and we were just naming off people like we'd be okay with going, and like people we would not be okay with going. And Dustin and Steve were like top of our list. You can't kill Dustin. You
Well,
actually can't do that.
yeah, I mean, the thing with killing Dustin and Steve is that you'd have to kill, like, it would only be emotionally better, like more emotionally impactful if you killed one and not the other.
Hmm. Yeah, I
But
don't want to think about that
but
because
I
the
think
other
like
one would be really upset.
yeah, like if you kill both of them at the same time, then the other one doesn't have to deal with, like, one of them doesn't have to deal with the other's death. Whereas if you kill one of them, then the other one does. So that would be a good one to watch. But yeah, also, sorry, before we move on, I wanted to ask, do you think that, because I this is another thing that disappointed me with like why I thought Volume 2 made Volume 1 a bit weaker was, when in episode 7 Dustin was saying, because I mentioned this to you, Rob, Dustin was saying about the Demogorgon being a foot soldier and Vecna being the 5-star general for the Mind Flayer.
Mhm.
Dustin, like, that seemed like a weird thing to then turn back on, because obviously Vecna is in control of the Mind Flayer.
Hmm.
So it seems like a weird thing for Dustin to say that and then it not be the case.
I mean, I guess it was just a red herring in a way, I guess, just kind of throw you off. But like,
I didn't view it as a red herring. I viewed it as like, because for everything else, like, Dustin names the villains in all the seasons.
mm,
Dustin knows how he named the Upside Down the Upside Down. He called it, like, he knows the mechanics and everything of how it works and all of that. Like, so for him to get something like that so wrong just seemed like very, very weird. And it's like a weird, like, because no one had really questioned it to that point either. But yeah. Anyway,
Okay, so obviously Mo was just speaking about Will. Do you guys think the painting has any meaning with the three-headed dragon?
um, so I think a little bit. I think it was meant to represent the fact that Vecna wouldn't be gone. I think I took the three-headed dragon as like a Hydra-esque being.
Yeah,
You cut off one head, two more come back, which is kind of what the entire show has been up to this
definitely.
point when it comes to the villains. Um, there's always someone behind it. There's always one more, or you finally defeat this, but then it turns out they were being led by this. And um, now that we're here and we're at the climactic end, and we kind of know what's been going on villain wise and how the hierarchy has worked and how this has all been happening. Um i i didn't take it as any way of like a season 5 kind of thing, but I did think the painting, obviously from Will's point of view, was just meant to represent Mike kind of, being the leader of the group, as he explained to him being the heart of the group, and then fighting up against this three-headed hydra that always seems to keep coming back no matter what, but they keep fighting.
Yeah,
I thought it was beautiful. I didn't expect the painting to be that, actually. I expected the painting to be him and Mike, because he wouldn't show 11. And I
yeah.
thought that's what it was going to be. But then he pulled it out in the van, and I was like, oh, well, this isn't really been like a moment that's been built up. He's just kind of showing it to him now. And then it was the dragon, which I thought was awesome still, but it's not what I expected.
Was 11 in the painting? Because
I
I know the
I think
boys
she
were.
was. She may have been. We only got like a quick shot of it, And
Yeah.
even then, I didn't understand that it was supposed to represent them at first until they started talking about it. I don't know if there was like a mage or something on there that was supposed to be 11, but I don't remember.
Because I know Will was on the painting in his wizard costume. But so I can't remember if 11 was there. Oh, so we only see 3 of them.
So Will, Mike, and I assume that's Dustin.
Mm,
Is that supposed to be Dustin?
okay, no love for Lucas then.
Well, I'm assuming Lucas is on the horse behind them.
Yeah, because it's not unrolled all the way though. There's definitely more of the group behind.
Do you know what'd be a really, really cool ending if the
What?
final frame is the painting? Like after it's all after the fight's over,
Like literally
Hawkins
the
has been
painting?
saved.
Like literally the painting, or like represented?
Like
Well,
a
like
shot
the-
into like the painting framed or something.
Yeah, like the painting framed on Will's wall.
Oh, okay,
like
right, okay.
X amount of years later or something. Just something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty cool.
I do want to kind of see a flash forward in season 5, like how they're doing now, or in 2020 or whatever, or 2022.
Well, I think the Duffer Brothers have said there's obviously there's a time jump in season 5. How
Yeah.
that's going to work after how season 4 ended, I'm not too sure, but they could possibly mean where are they so many years later, which could be cool. But no, I'm quite sold on that idea of the painting being the last shot. Could be a nice
You're
metaphor for the
on the
show.
idea that you invented.
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
going to be
good.
emailing Netflix and the Duffer Brothers. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, Netflix does not accept unsolicited submissions, so good luck. Just
There we
tweet at
go.
them. But I think the painting I view the painting as a metaphor for Will's sexuality. And I still think that holds true, because he effectively, and even more so now that we didn't see the whole painting, obviously. So he didn't reveal his sexuality fully to Mike. We only saw like a part of it, like most of it. We just need that little extra bump. But anyway, yeah, that's my thing on the painting. And also the 3-headed dragon is obviously him, Elle, and Mike being the 3-headed dragon.
It's different.
That's very different. I did not take it that way at all.
I was leaning more to Vecna, but yeah, well, not so much Vecna, but the threats of the Upside Down,
I don't.
which is really cool.
Do you think that we're going to see a dragon in season 5?
Well, no, but I think it represents the battle.
No, but do you not think that we're going to see a dragon in season 5?
I know what you mean. I think we're gonna see different. We're gonna see new
Species.
creatures.
Yeah.
Definitely. I feel like we might get a sort of new form of Demogorgon if this idea of it's literally going to be Hawkins versus the Upside Down, because they're gonna have to have some sort of handicap, I guess, if they won't be able to fight an unlimited amount of Demogorgons. So I think, I don't know. I think they'll create new creatures for him to square off against.
Yeah, I think definitely. I feel like we're going to see a dragon. I feel like it's been hinted. Like you I don't know. It's just like you've got the Upside Down, which is like parallel universe. That's the dungeon aspect of it, and then there's the dragon aspect of it. And I just feel like there's going to be a dragon. Like, I don't know.
It'd be cool.
That's my prediction, that there's gonna that Vecna's like last thing, his final boss command thing is like his his last trick up his sleeve is going to be a literal dragon.
Or it could be Will.
Okay.
The traitor.
That's been a big theory. That's been a big theory that Will's been kind of a mole. I mean, he already was technically.
Oh yeah,
in season 2, he was the
your
mole.
mom.
But like, I mean, it still holds true. He's still connected. His connection has not been severed because he was able to sense when the upside down started pouring in, right?
Yeah, when the spores started falling from the sky.
Yeah, he got the feeling in the back of his neck again, that something was going on. So obviously Will Ties is gonna be a heavy player in season 5. I mean, he's the biggest link other than 11.
But why him? Why did Vecna choose him?
I I I don't think, like, personally, I don't see anything they've given us that we could actually like set up a solid theory on. I
Yeah.
mean, we know that season 5 is going to deep dive into the lore of the Upside Down, why specifically the Upside Down is stuck on the day that Will got taken in 1983. Which again, at that point, when they start delving more into that plot point, I feel like we will get an answer on why Will was specifically taken. Or, I mean, genuinely, it could just be needed that first contact. You needed that first move, and Will just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, riding his bike. And he just got taken.
I think the theory as to why Will got taken, that as to why the Upside Down is taken that day, is I don't think there's a theory on that. It's literally just because that was the day that 11 opened the gate.
That is true.
So I think that it's frozen because of that, because like now it's been basically like seeping in, so you can't seep in and also like move forward in time at the same. Like that's what I think. Anyway, I feel like that's fairly, I don't want to say obvious, but understood, implicit.
I mean, yeah, it could 100% go that way, but
But
we'll
as far as why Will was taken, I don't know, and I hope that we get an answer to that, because it seems like that could be a thing. Like that could be a question that we have that we don't actually know we have yet until we get an answer for it.
Yeah, I think obviously season 4 started to give us answers, like you said before. We found out how the light things worked, and I think Vecna and Will are going to come face to face, and there will be that reveal of why Will was taken, and I think that'd be really cool. Because Vecna's not obviously interacted with not even half the party. He's seen Robin, Steve, Nancy, and then obviously 11,
and
Max. Yeah. So yeah.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I think that conversation between Will and Vecna could actually be really, really cool.
Yeah.
I think Will would probably lose his mind on him. He'd probably start getting super emotional and be like, "Why'd you make my life like terrible? Why'd you do this to me?"
But I think it's also a really weird one because there's a lot of mystery about Will and his younger life, because he's the focal character. He and 11 are the focal characters of the show, insofar as like they're the two that the show revolves around primarily. So we get a lot of answers about 11's life, and we don't get those answers for Will. We don't have all we have is a passing reference to his father that like is either dead or hates him. I don't. Is Lonnie's dead, isn't he?
No, Lonnie is alive. We saw him.
I thought he died at some point.
Did he die?
I thought he was alive.
Oh, I don't
I'm
know.
pretty sure he's alive. He still just like doesn't want anything to do with Will.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, not fair enough, but pardon me. Yeah, no,
I've seen theories saying Vecna is Will's dad in reality, and I think that's the most terrible. Like make Will like a Jesus,
like an Antichrist.
Yeah, almost. That Vecna worked magic somehow back in time, and yeah, it's weird.
I mean, I don't think it's that weird, to be honest, but I also think that, yeah, I don't think it's that weird, because we don't actually know how old Henry Creel was, and we don't know at what point he'd like, if he'd had like time to escape or like leave the facility or something like that. We don't know any of that. We don't know if he is it implied that he grew up and he spent his whole life in the facility? Like
I think so. Or
Yeah,
I think it's
that's where I
implied
got
that
it. Yeah.
he got that it was just one for a while.
Mm,
And then one grew to be older, and then when Brenner started bringing in 2 through 11, whenever he started bringing them in, he moved 1 to like a guide spot, the spot that we saw him in whenever he was
yeah.
talking to 11 and stuff there, and like not to say anything about his abilities.
Right. Okay. I mean, yeah, fair enough. I did see a theory that I liked, which was that Henry Creel's sister is actually Karen.
No.
Karen,
Oh,
which one? Wait, Karen, which one's Karen?
Mike's
Mike's
mom.
mom.
Mike's mom. Oh my gosh, I don't know.
I
No, because then
really,
that would just bring Mike into like this whole over. No, okay.
I like.
She's got a poster though, guys.
Yeah, she's got a
She's
poster.
connected. She's connected to it all. It's no.
I mean, it's better than the Eddie is 10 theories.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
okay, yeah.
way better. This one is actually grounded in evidence, as opposed to Eddie is 10 is grounded in what is it, a wrist cuff or
Yeah,
wristband?
and he had a buzz cut when he was younger as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, a buzz cut. Sorry, that was it. But anyway, yeah, I think the question of why Will got taken is a question that we don't know we have yet. So it's gonna get answered to us at some point in like a oh, it's been I have been wanting to like find you, or something like that. I don't know. I don't think we have all the information we need to theorize yet. Like
Yeah.
you said, Rob. But yeah. Anyway.
All right then. So we have another question submitted from Brit. If any of the listeners don't know, Brit is another streamer team member. She's a senior writer. Her question is, what's one thing you would have changed about season 4, volume 2?
I would have, and I'm taking what Mo had told me earlier. I would have ended the drawn out Nina experiments at the end of episode 7 and then jumped into everything with episode 8. Not finish off the Nina stuff in episode 8 and then get everything going. That was like the one part of the season that I really didn't like. Not the story part of it. Like I think her doing the Nina stuff and getting her powers back was great. I think how long they took to do that entire process was way too drawn out. They could have done it in the same, honestly, I would have been fine if they took the same amount of time to do it, but just didn't show as much of it and gave that time to show the other subplots and the other groups developing like on their journey. It got really monotonous to keep cutting back to 11, going back into this memory and then back into this memory, but then this didn't work, so they got to do it again. And then, oh, she wants to leave, but she can't. But then she wants to leave again, but then she can't. And then she tries to leave one final time, but then Brenner shuts everything down. And then, yeah, I mean, the ending of it was cool. I think the helicopter moment was amazing. But I think it just took way too long to get there to finish it off in volume 2.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed with that. I think the other one thing I would change is, are we talking story wise or are we talking release?
Just anything.
Anything. Okay.
Anything.
Anything I'd change. Okay, story wise, I would, yeah, it would be end the 11 flashback Nina project stuff, end that all in volume 1. You closed it off nicely. Her reconciling with everything that had happened should have been incentive enough for her to get her powers back. Like they didn't need to draw it out, and I don't think she even did much developing in that anyway. It just seemed like just kill Brenner, just kill him at the end of, because I think you open the season with him, don't you? Or you open episode 1 with Brenner.
Yeah.
Having him die at the end of episode 7 or at the end of volume 1 would have been a good structural thing, right?
Yep.
Or it would have been a good kind of narrative storytelling technique to kind of open the season with him being like, we now know that we thought it was a flashback in the past, to the past obviously, as opposed to a flashback to the future. We thought it was a flashback. It turned out to not be a flashback. It turned out to be real. But I think I would really like to see them play around with releases a bit more. I think that season 4 could have benefited, and I'd say this for like a lot of shows that are like mystery shows or theorizing shows. If you're going to do massive episodes that are basically feature length, why not just release them once a month? Then you don't have to rush out for anything. You can sustain that hype. Why not just release them once a month and then make it an event for each episode? And I really wish they would do that for season 5, but we know they're not going to do that for season 5 because they've said they're not, like, screw weekly releases. When you've got a film that's longer than, or when you've got an episode that's longer than two of the the two most recent Marvel Cinematic Universe films, then I don't understand why you're like not making an event out of each of them. But yeah, anyway, that's what I would have changed. I also, it feels a little bit like a lot of the things and the themes that were set up in the season weren't resolved, and it feels like season 5 is just going to be season 4 part 2. Because they set up a lot at the start of season 4 that I don't think was resolved by the end of it. Whereas the previous seasons of Stranger Things, everything that is set up, like the villains defeated and stuff like that, the characters have moved on, things are moving forward and stuff like that. Like there's a nice resolution to it. Whereas I think this is the first season that's ended on that big of a cliffhanger. So I wish, like, it feels very much like season 5 is season 4 part 2, which I'm not, like, I would have liked them to have resolved a bit more. Anyway, yeah, I'm done talking.
I definitely, like, I agree with you so much on that point, because I can remember the specific moment I realized that season 5 was going to be basically a season 4 part 2 whenever I think it's when 11 finally, like, pins up Vecna, I believe. I may be wrong in the moment, but I remember the line, Vecna looked at whoever it was and was like, this is the beginning of the end. As soon as I heard that, I was like, okay, so this isn't it. This is definitely going to be more setup, because Vecna is pretty much the overlord of the Upside Down, and we expect to take him down with some Molotovs and some shotgun blasts. With, like, it'll damage him for sure, but that's not going to do it. So then as soon as Vecna said that, I was like, all right, so this cliffhanger is going to be pretty big. My favorite cliffhanger before this was the Mind Flayer one, when they're at the dance, I believe, and it flips upside down. The outside shot of the school, and then the Mind Flayer is hovering above it. I loved that one. But this one, I was sitting next to my girlfriend, and I was silent, and my mouth was just gaping open. And I just kept looking at her, and she wasn't reacting because she's not as energetic when it comes to movies or shows. But yeah, it's definitely like a two season finale.
Do you think that we're going to get an answer as to when the Upside Down was and, like, what exactly it is?
Yes.
Aside from it just being a parallel dimension.
I think any question that anybody has ever asked about the Upside Down is going to get answered by the end of season 5. I feel like that's only right for it being the final season. I know we have a spinoff, but again, using a spinoff to answer shows or to answer questions about the main show,
it's giving Pretty Little Liars the perfectionists.
I definitely think we're going to get every answer on when the Upside Down was created. Was it even created? Will's tied to it. how it works, why it's stuck at that time.
What do you think it is? What's your theories on it? Sorry, I'm
My
taking over
my
questioning. Yeah, Josh,
yeah,
Josh and
no.
Rob, but
My theory is actually that the upside down has just always existed. I think there is just multiple dimensions. Like obviously the upside down and the real world are probably just not the only worlds out there that exist alternate. I think the upside down, since the creation of the universe or universes, has always been a thing, and people with psychic abilities are able to uh, match the frequency almost with the upside down and create portals, which then just starts to create a merge, because I don't think those portals were supposed to be a thing in the first place. Yeah, I'm not on these huge, like, someone that we know created. I don't like the theory that 11 created the upside down. I don't like the theory that anyone we know created it. I just think it was always there and it wasn't supposed to be touched.
what about you, Josh? Sorry, I took over the questioning there.
Yeah, no, I'm sort of. Yeah, no, I agree with Rob there. Just having always been there and untouched and stuff. Just back to the I can't remember what the topic was, but about answering all the questions about the upside down. I'm so glad we have a humanoid upside down villain, because obviously a Demogorgon's not going to sit down and explain to us how everything was started. And yeah, I just wanted to throw that in and just say, yeah, it's great having Vecna to explain, or at least hint at the how things have happened and stuff.
What
I
did
think
he
we'll get more of that in season 5, I think.
What did he eat?
I thought about that. I thought that whenever it was the flashback to when he first got there and was walking in the upside down. I don't know why, but it shot in my head. I'm like, so I guess he doesn't need to eat now because he's psychic in the upside down or something.
And
No more food.
And also, we saw him walking around in the upside down, and presumably he would get transported to the place that would eventually become Hawkins, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why was there nothing there when he was there? Like, was he just like, I don't, yeah, but why was there nothing there? Did he build it all? Was he like trying to play like
I
house or something?
always took it as like he got to the upside down because it was the first portal, but then like his portal, did his portal close immediately? Because I remember when Brenner walked up to where it wasn't there just cracks on the wall or something?
Yeah,
Like
there
the
was. It was
portal was
like
not open.
burn marks.
Yeah.
Like,
So like when he got shot in there and then the portal closed, there was not enough time for any merging or copying to take place. But then whenever the what we thought was the first portal in season 1 that they had underneath the facility, then since that portal was open and like when Will got taken and everything, with it being open longer, I think that's what I've always taken as the energy, or however they're going to explain it, of Hawkins was going through that portal and then creating a carbon copy of it on the other side. So that's why it was barren.
So it's like our universe, as well as like as well as the upside down is infecting our universe is infecting the upside down.
Yes.
So it's sort of like, so yeah, like Josh said earlier on, convergence of it. Like it's not like one's taking over the other; it's that they're both taking over the other. That makes sense.
And I mean, taking over each other would just be the merging of the two, which I think is what they're setting up right now. The upside down and at least Hawkins for now are starting to almost become one.
Oh, that's good. That's interesting.
That's what. Also, I just want to jot in here. Perfect way to do season 5. Do however many episodes, right? Do another volume 1, or no, just release the final season. Have all of it up to the penultimate, and then that last episode, have it be another 2.5-hour episode. Drop it as a movie a month later as an ending. That's how I would do it. I don't think Mo liked that. I don't think Mo liked that at all.
Mo did not like that at all. No. Because Mo just said release season 5 once a month.
Nah,
If they're all
That's
going to
too,
be
that's
like
too spaced out. Too spaced out for me.
they are all going to be feature length episodes. Sorry.
not if they need to be though. Like, maybe. I still think the finale should have been split into 2.
This is where we disagree.
Go on then.
No,
You
carry on.
No, I just not that obviously I was still gonna sit and watch them back to back regardless. But it's just a 2 hour and 20 odd minute episode. It's not an episode. It's its own feature length
That's what I'm saying.
film. Yeah.
I didn't dislike it being like the final episode and calling it an episode because it was, but I just think it would be really cool if they just did the season and they're like, oh, next month we're releasing Stranger Things, the final chapter or something like that, where it's a movie and it's 2.5 hours or something like that, but it's structured like a movie. It's not structured to like what 9 was in this season,
Yeah.
where it felt like an episode, but just a very long episode. I think releasing like that final episode, but having it actually be like a movie, I think it'd be a really cool idea.
I'm more on board with that idea actually, now that you've said it and explained it. But I also thought that episode 8 was the weaker one of. I think episode 8 is probably the weakest of the season for me. Actually, no. It goes. Probably like episode 2 is the weakest of the season, and then episode 8 is just above that. But it felt like, because for me, I thought every episode of Volume 1 was obviously episodic, but it also had that 3-act structure to it, like a film. And I felt that wasn't there in episode 8. I felt like episode 8 could have been reduced effectively to a coda at the end of episode 7, a post-credit scene at the end of episode 7 or something. Kill Brenner off in a post-credit scene or something like that. Just do that. Because I didn't think, I don't know. What do you think the Russians have to do with it? Like, why the Russians?
Going forward?
Yeah.
From now?
Going
Oh
forward.
man.
Or were they
I'm
just
done with the Russian subplot now.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Josh,
I
Get rid of it.
don't see them coming back now. I mean, the Russian prison got overrun by the Demogorgon. I mean, that's gone. I feel like that was the last little bit. After we got Hopper out of the Russian prison, I feel like that should be it on the Russian stuff.
Yeah.
We've had plenty of it over the course of the 4 seasons.
But
I don't see them doing it anymore.
I don't see why they had to do that to take Hopper away so badly. Like, if they needed to get rid of Hopper so bad, like, why would they set up a whole subplot just to take Hopper and Joyce away from the kids? Like, yeah, that doesn't add to the overall story. It adds to the setting, and I don't think that I'd like there to be a concrete answer as to why the Russians were necessary, why that whole subplot was necessary, because there's a good, I want to say 10 hours of plot dedicated to the Russians throughout seasons 3 and 4, when they started to become more present. And I just don't understand why they would dedicate 10 hours of it, of story, to telling a subplot that only exists to take away 2 characters from the other characters. So I believe, and I hope, and I'm hopeful, that there is a reason for it, and that will get answered. But at the same time, I don't know. Oh God, maybe that's going to be the spin-off, the Russians.
Oh my gosh. I did see a really cool idea for the spinoff actually on TikTok. I don't remember the guy's at, so I can't credit, but please. A duo show of Robin and Steve. I think that would work really well, actually. And I like that idea a bunch. I just wanted to throw that out there. Because the only other spin-off ideas I had were absolutely terrible and couldn't work as full-length shows. So like a Scoops Ahoy buddy comedy or something. I don't know, lighten the mood after everything that happened.
Back to Russia. I apart from Hopper absolutely cutting a Demogorgon to pieces, Murray with the flamethrower, I really hated how the Russia story progressed in Volume 2. They should have never left that prison. 'Cause
Yeah, oh my
it
gosh.
was just pointless. They leave the prison to go back and storm it. They could have easily stormed it right there and then left and found some other way of getting back to the US. It just felt silly that they leave and they go back to have the battle with the Demodogs and the Demogorgon.
Mhm.
My
Yeah.
thing with the Russians, with the Russian subplot is that I would have liked to have seen them effectively, like, because they obviously have a Demogorgon. The Russians, it's implied that they have a portal to the Upside Down, or they have a gate there. I would have liked them escape Russia by going through the Upside Down, like how Hopper, like, do a reverse Hopper.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen them do that, because that would have been so much more like narratively satisfying. Because again, you have Hopper implied dead, goes through that gate, winds up in Russia, and then you've got him returning through that gate to go and help his daughter, and
Mhm.
and obviously, like, I just didn't. It would have been so much more satisfying if they did that, and then obviously then now the adults having spent days in the Upside Down, trying to do that, like, surviving, they would have got an understanding of it, and I would have been fine with them not reuniting by the end of the season if they were escaping through the Upside Down, because then imagine end of episode 1 of season 5, they reunite, but they're completely changed, having spent 3-4 days in the Upside Down trying to get through.
That's what we kind of talked about this morning, was that just like going like off of that, I did want to see them go through that portal. I thought that made the most sense, especially with this again, a monotonous thing with Yuri, where he just wouldn't help them consistently, and it didn't seem like they were ever going to get back to America. I was like, okay, so they got to go through the Upside Down. And my original theory was that all three groups were going to end up being in the Upside Down at the same time, somehow, some way, and they were all going to unite in the Upside Down and have a big fight in the Upside Down. But then it all ended up being separate, all doing their own thing. It kind of made me a little mad, because what I wanted was all of them to group up, and I wanted to have a scene where they all just are trying to explain to each other what they've been doing and how it all links together. But we never got that. All we got in the epilogue was, oh, well, I'll explain it to you later. I'll tell you all that happened later. Like, no, you understand how vital everybody's roles were, and everything had to happen at a specific time for everything to work. But yes, the Russian stuff with Hopper, that was also, it wasn't as monotonous as the Nina stuff for me, which is why I didn't bring it up, but it was very slow, and a lot of it was pointless, because there's the whole big climactic escape, and he does it, and it's great, and then he gets captured, but then they escape again with Joyce and Murray this time, and then they got to go back to the prison.
I think the Russian stuff was saved by the action and the fight choreography.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Oh man.
The first time in that, obviously there's the two big Russian set pieces. The first with the Demogorgon, that was really good. And then with Hopper and Murray with the flamethrower.
The sword was so cool. That was so cool. That was just something that, I know they set it up by like having them just be given weird weapons, so of course there was a sword laying there. But I know the Duffer Brothers, when they were writing that, they're like, we should just give Hopper a sword. Just make him a knight real quick and just have him chop up the Demogorgon like it's nothing. Didn't even stand a chance.
We have another question from Twitter. This time it is from Jacob, who asks, who's everyone's favourite character from season 4?
Man, I got to think about that. I'm also checking this question to see if it's the Jacob that I know. It is. Okay. Steve. Well, okay, specifically season 4? I don't know. Wow. Steve is my overall favorite character, but that's like from every season before this. I will say Lucas this season for me, actually.
Okay.
I
Okay.
loved his character arc this season. I think Caleb McLaughlin is a great actor in general. I think
He's terrific, yeah.
And what really solidified it for me was his scene with Max at the end whenever she died.
Yeah.
That was like, that had me bawling. I don't think I would have been bawling if he wasn't acting the way that he was acting in that scene. But I think his arc was great. I mean, they just, right from episode 1, he's kind of become douchey and he's trying to be too cool, but you can tell enough that it's not real and that he's really just, he's acting to try and get in with the basketball guys. And then just over the course of the season, he just starts to come back more and more until you get that final fight with Jason, who is the most annoying character that Stranger Things has ever created.
But that's good writing, though.
That is good writing.
It's
that is
really
great.
good writing.
If I hate a character that much, that is great writing.
Yep.
Yeah.
You are good at what you're doing. But I wanted a more satisfying end to Jason, I'll be honest. I just remember watching him die and being like, oh, well, he's gone now. Like, it wasn't even the whole moment. It just saw it open and he just split in half. But, you know, it is what it is. Caleb McLaughlin, though. Lucas, he is my favorite character this season.
All right. I think Eddie, probably. After volume 1, I don't know. For an addition, for someone to come into that cast and that ensemble and just fit in straight away, was really, really impressive. And he was sort of a different character to what we've had before, which I really liked. And obviously his stuff in volume 2 was just on another level. And I was genuinely devastated when he died.
Yeah.
And part of me was like, do you know what? He died a hero. But it's a shame he didn't survive the season because of how good a character he is. See, I was devastated when he died.
Yeah. He brought a lot of his energy, I can't remember the actor's name right now who plays Eddie. Can someone help me here? No one.
Joshua Quinn.
Yes. Or is it Joseph?
I thought it was Joseph.
Is it Joseph? I think it's Joseph Quinn, actually. Yes. Props to him, because the facial expressions that this guy makes when he's Eddie and the mannerisms that he has just like made the character for me, from doing the devil horns and the
Chrissy, wake up.
Oh my, that's been stuck in my head.
Yes.
That TikTok sound,
the scream as well.
oh my gosh, yeah. Anyway, yeah, no, I love Eddie. I really love Eddie. They got to stop killing these characters.
My favorite character from season 4 was probably trying to think. I quite liked Max this season. I thought I found her to be a bit frustrating in season 3. But I think that, yeah, and I found her introduction to be really, really sort of bland. But I thought they gave her a lot to do this season, and she was the heart of the season. She stayed the heart of the season throughout.
She was like the Will, if the like what Will was to season 1, she was like that for this season. Or
Yeah.
the way that she connects to everything.
Yeah, but I think she also managed to give some of the best moments, like that Kate Bush moment.
Yep.
Of course, episode 4.
Episode 4. It's still tops for me.
Yeah, it's great. They knew what they were doing with that scene.
Yeah. I listen to the YouTube, to the Stranger Things version of it, because it's just like with the drums and everything, and it just goes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The music was so good this season.
Oh, so good.
the Journey song.
Oh good.
Yep.
And then having Eddie play Master of Puppets. Are you kidding me? People were really like, he's gonna play the final countdown. Does anybody so he's got a Dio jacket with a metalhead pin on it. This dude is a absolute just metal god, and people are thinking he's gonna play oh my, when he got on top of the on like the trailer and just started riffing Master of Puppets. Oh my gosh, that was such an amazing moment. That was so good.
All right. Do you both have anything final you want to add about Volume 2?
Yes.
Go ahead.
As a theory, kind of, what if the Upside Down is actually what humans call hell? Like there's been a lot of comparisons to hell to it already by what we heard on that news report. People were calling it a portal or the gate to hell and stuff like that. What if it actually is what humans have always thought was hell since like the beginning of time or whatever? Like what if the Upside Down is actually somehow linked to death when it comes to death in our world? I don't know. I think that'd be really cool. And then like Vecna could represent the devil.
Do the little.
That's what I got.
I don't know. I just think that the show for all the complaints I've had, it's still a very, very good show.
Yeah.
And I like, if I was rating this like as a season of television in comparison to every other season of television that I've seen this year alone, like it's up there. It's definitely like definitely 100% up there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything to add. I just hope that we don't have another 3-year wait. And I hope that it's obviously COVID impacted a lot of the shooting and stuff like that. And yeah, but I'm hoping that it's just, I can deal with a 2-year wait. Because I'm trusting that they've got it all planned out and they've got the story written properly.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, when it comes to it being planned out, like writing it's a whole separate thing. But I did read that, what was it? Whenever the Duffer Brothers pitched the show to Netflix, they actually had them write out like an entire, like from beginning to end, what the story is going to be. Like not the specifics, obviously, but like where the story is going to go, how everything actually connects, which is why now that we know stuff in season 4, people are going back and pointing out in the first 3 seasons all the times you hear Vecna's clock, which is that's blowing the level of detail that Netflix having them write out that paper that pretty much was linking everything together, the entire story before season 1. It allows them to have that level of detail that I think is amazing.
I think it was during the middle of the production of season 1.
Yeah.
Was when Netflix was like, yeah, you need to explain everything to us. So they wrote a 30-page document on the Upside Down and how it all works. And
yeah,
I think it was the actor Gayton. He'd said something in an interview back in 2016 about how there's like humans that have been living in the Upside Down for a while. Like I'll see if I can find the interview actually, and I'll send it to you afterwards. But yeah.
Where did Callie go?
Great question. Where did Callie go?
Imagine, I mean, it would be impossible because that like plays a part of the season, but they said that they're going to go back and they're thinking about dubbing over anybody that says Will's birthday, if they say March, they're thinking about going back and having them dub over with May because it matches the
Oh.
voice. I was like, dude, what if they just scratch that? But you can't, because that's like a very integral part of the show. I don't know. Like, it's a part of the journey.
Well, if they're gonna go and change that, they can get rid of the Cali episode as well. So
Just
perfect.
erase it and pretend it never happened.
Literally.
But I think, and that's another thing, is like the whole thing of season 2 is trying to get 11 back to, like, take 11 away and then get her back to the group, and it feels like they did that again with the Russia subplot, except stretched it out over however many episodes.
Yeah.
Just to try and get, like, and that's what I don't like. I don't like, it feels like the Russia thing has to add up to something. Like, it has to mean something. It can't just be a whatever.
Well, the Russia stuff was, especially season 2, it was sort of like a red herring. Like
Russia didn't come into season 2.
No, but it was mentioned. Russia was mentioned. Obviously, there was teasers and little hints, especially like Mike's dad. But for me, the Russia stuff, series 3 and 4, is done. Don't forget the government guy. I can't remember his name. See, I think they're not going to do Russia in season 5 because whatever he's doing, he's obviously still after 11. I think that's going to be
Sullivan, I think, that general or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the side villain as such to everything that's going on with the Upside Down. So I think bringing the Russians back again, it'd just be completely pointless. Like we said before, that it just feels done.
It's not,
and I'd sort of be happy with that they found a port themselves and they got involved. That, do you know what I mean? And just leave it at that.
That's what I thought. I always thought of it as just experiments. They were just trying to beat America, because at the time, I mean, at least in the beginning of the show, it was like still Cold War-esque. I mean, it was after like a majority of the Cold War stuff take place, but then Russia's doing their experiments here, America's doing MK Ultra stuff. I always took it as that, and now I don't see a need for it to come back anymore, at least.
I don't want to bring it back. I just need to know why it existed, other than to just be a side story. I believe that there is a reason it existed, and there's a reason we spent so much of time on it. Like, it's like the 11 flashbacks. Like, there's a reason that we had all of those flashbacks and we spent so much of time on it, and it's to add up to this reveal that 11 sent Vecna to the Upside Down, and that Vecna is a Creel and is the Creel and is number one, and all of that. Like, there's a reason for all of that. Like, and so I want to believe that there's a reason for this Russians thing, because that's been developing for longer than the 11 flashbacks have. And so my instinct is saying that there is going to be something, because they didn't kill off Enzo, so they still have that tie.
That's true.
They still have that tie there. So there's going to be, maybe it's going to be the Russians. They're going to go into alternate history, and the Russians are going to be now working with the US government to try and contain the Upside Down or something like that. Or maybe they're going to go a different way and say that the Russians are going to team up with the Upside Down, or like the creatures in the Upside Down, or they're going to send men into the Upside Down to then get transformed like Vecna or something, so that there's more of an adversary for the US.
I don't mind that theory. I don't mind it at all.
Like, there just has to be something that, like, because they didn't kill off Enzo, they didn't kill off Yuri. They've got those links to Russia.
I definitely think they'll be back. I just don't know if it'll have to do with Russia in general. I just think, my thought is that for like the climactic final battle, I think it'll be, and I hate doing it because it's just what most people can link to, an endgame moment where everybody, like, I mean, everybody reunites. Like, I think like the group, all the side characters from Hawkins, Yuri and Enzo end up coming back, Murray, and then I even think it would make the most sense if over the course of the season, obviously the army or whatever that special ops group is after 11, but then when stuff gets real, I think they're even going to have to like band together with them and be like, okay, we kind of need to fight these people and not care about 11 right now because she's our only shot at beating them.
Yes.
I have a theory, again, a theory on this, and it's basically that everyone that's been taken to the Upside Down will be a part of Vecna's army and have Vecna's powers. And so it links back to the Russian thing. So Barb, for instance, will come back in season 5, but as a Vecna soldier.
So zombies.
Kind of zombies, yeah, but I hate zombies.
Well, there's your foot soldiers for the battle with the zombies. Yeah. Jason, Barb, everyone, bring them back.
Yeah, bring them all back, and I do think that the Russians are going to use their gate to send people through the Upside Down, and Vecna's going to manipulate them and basically use them as the army, because the Soviet, like, there's got to be a reason for that gate still being open in Russia as well.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, like, it's not going to be satisfying if they don't close up all the gates. And I hope that the season isn't fetch questy in the sense of, like, you got to go 11's just on a globe-trotting adventure closing up all the gates. But I mean, that could be a spin-off. 11's Last Mission.
That could be, yeah, that
6-episode
cool.
limited series on Disney Plus. 11's Last Mission, where she goes and returns all. Sorry, no.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I hope we get, if we have this end game sort of moment, we get the arcade owner bringing back. I can't remember the actor's name, but he was in a series of unfortunate events. Because he was nowhere to be seen this season, if I can remember. He might have been
not like the guy who worked at the stand, right? Like the goofy guy.
Yeah.
Him?
Yeah, bring him back.
Yeah. I want them to bring back everybody. I want to see everybody back. I want to see
the AV club as well, yeah.
Mr. Harris.
Yeah, Mr. Harris. Yeah.
I think it would make the most sense for how big this season is probably going to be for everybody that we've seen over the previous seasons. Even if like Barb and Bob and Eddie are like not actually foot soldiers and not physically there, I think they could find some way to have Vecna playing mind tricks on people.
Yeah,
and just try and just decimate their emotions by just having them blame people for their deaths. And yeah,
imagine Eddie comes back because he died in the Upside Down, right?
Yeah.
So he's still in the Upside Down, and we know that people with 11's powers, like Vecna has, can resurrect people because 11 resurrected Max. Yeah. So Vecna resurrects Eddie.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible for him.
Mm.
Okay, so Dakota asks, the kids theorized that Vecna would come back for Max, but they really should have had a conversation at one point about what songs would save each one of them if the time came. What do you think?
Yes, they should have had that question. They should have had that talk, but they obviously didn't.
I don't think they had the music licensing to be able to. I don't think
that's true.
30 million an episode, and they would obviously all have to be iconic songs from the 80s.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they had the budget to be able to reference them, even if it was. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think they were pretty sure of, and this is the other thing, is like, they paint the kids as very sure about things, and 99% of the time they're right. And then when they're wrong, it's like, you're wrong about something so obvious.
Yeah.
Or you're wrong about something like that. So they were pretty sure that Max was going to be the next victim again, because he was coming back for them. And they weren't worried about Nancy. But
yeah,
no one tried to throw some headphones at Nancy or whatever it was. So
that's true. But even in a way, I mean, they still, even after Vecna had gotten to her, I feel like it still made sense that they weren't worried about her, because he didn't get her to take her energy, or whatever Vecna does, to like in the same thing with Max, because he didn't prey on her past trauma. He simply got her to be a messenger.
Yeah,
no, he did prey on her past trauma though a little bit.
Which trauma?
With Barb.
Oh, that's
with Barb,
true.
Yeah.
With Barb,
yeah.
I just took as like the main point of he got her was just to show her what he's about to do and to tell everybody.
I do have to say though, I'm usually 100% against the big revealer villain speech, but it's done so effectively with in Stranger
Yeah.
Things.
And you need it too. It's like
Yeah.
if that wouldn't have happened, I mean, there would have been so many questions.
Yeah, like the flashbacks and the way that the flashbacks are intercut with the music and everything like that, and it just like just the editing in episode 7 and the editing in at the start of episode 8 was just like top notch for me, because it was just very much like this is how you do a flashback and how you do a revealer. If you've got to do one, this is like the blueprint now,
Yeah.
because you're just they're just able to convey so much of, like, fine, it's a huge exposition dump, but I don't mind it. And I really thought it was like, yeah, but I have to ask, why Nancy? Because her mother is Vecna's sister.
No,
No, why Nancy though? Why Nancy?
I don't know.
She's the only person still in the Upside Down when they were coming through, or no? Steve was still with her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Steve was still there.
I don't know. Maybe he just chose her just to do it. I don't know.
I think, but also, yeah, like as far as the trauma aspect of it goes, we don't know enough about Steve's backstory. We don't know that he's had any trauma.
Yep.
But also, you've got to imagine that everyone now in Hawkins has got this trauma that they've gone through. So he's got a lot more potential victims to take power from, or to just take into the Upside Down to use as soldiers. Because what the death toll is, what, 22 plus?
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of people there that have been through things. So they've got this trauma to be able to, he's got that trauma to be able to like extract, and the whole town, obviously.
But didn't Vecna only need 4 people for the merge, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, 4 people, 4 gates.
Why did he need 4?
I don't know, north, south, east, west. Because they all came from different. They all met in the middle, didn't they?
They did.
But I don't know. I don't know if you were saying those 22 dead were obviously taken by Vecna.
No. I'm saying,
Yeah.
the 22 dead is like the people.
The people surrounding them
have trauma, so that he can then open up more gates and then make the merge happen faster.
Mm. Yeah.
Because I would have to imagine that the more gates you open, the faster the merge is.
Yeah.
But yeah, just my thoughts.
I mean, he succeeded.
Yep.
I mean, the reason why he merged is because technically Max did die.
Yeah.
And that's what caused everything to happen. I think that ties into why Max isn't there. Like when 11 felt her, her body is alive, but Max is not in there right now.
Yeah.
I think Max is like she's somewhere, but she's not in her body right now. I think it has to obviously do with Vecna and the Upside Down and all that. But
she'll be in some like mind prison.
Something like that, most likely, yeah.
Whatever happens with it, it'll just be like an episode of Stephen Moffat's Doctor Who, just some weird mind-boggling prison, like a labyrinth that she's got to escape. So,
I mean, who else got taken by Vecna? Oh no, those people actually died though. No, those people actually died. I was like, oh, maybe they could come back, but no, they actually went all the way through and like heads exploded on the inside. So
I'd love to see a really deformed Vecna, a weakened Vecna in season 5, but like a real brutal, like proper gory horror. I think it'd be really cool. I don't know, because obviously a lot of shotgun shells and being burnt. It could be really cool what they do. But obviously we know he heals though, so I don't know if they'll do anything with that, or at least leave him scarred. That'd be cool.
I think there's something to be like. He's obviously not he's taken control of the hive mind. But I do believe that there's some autonomy there, because you've got these demogorgons that are in Russia. I'm gonna bring up Russia again, sorry, but you've got these demogorgons and these creatures from the Upside Down that are in Russia that don't seem to want to have anything to do with Hawkins. They're just content. They're not trying to escape the prison or anything. So I believe there's some autonomy there. So maybe the further away from Hawkins that they get, the less control he has over the hive mind.
Well,
so-
you could. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. You know what you can say?
You could say that's because obviously the dust. It's the mind flare, isn't it? Obviously, when they went into that room, in that glass cabinet was the sort of the storm cloud.
Yeah.
That's very ominous of the mind flare. I think the reason they weren't so set on rampaging and heading to Hawkins was because they weren't connected to it. And obviously when they go back in volume 2 and all the glass is smashed and everything, I think that's them reconnecting in a sense to the mind flayer completely. Which is why they may have not been so intent of leaving Russia.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my thought on it. I don't know.
Fair enough.
But yeah. All right then. So we've reached the end of the episode, guys. I'm going to ask you one final question. Stranger Things 4 Volume 2. Are you going to stream it or shove it?
Stream it.
Stream it.
Stream it,
Perfect.
please.
Are you?
Yep. I'm going to stream it, yeah. I'm going to
Okay.
stream it. All right then, thank you very much for listening to the very first episode of What's Streaming. Any feedback is welcome. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Thank you for
See ya.
hosting.
It's what I do. It's what I do.
Do we want to plug our socials, maybe?
Yeah, you two can go first.
Go on, Rob.
Go on.
All right. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at RobSourwineX. I'm not gonna expect you to know how to spell it, but if you follow Streamer on Twitter, you'll find me somewhere.
Yeah, you can find me on Mo from Streamer. That's STREAMR
Correct.
Streamer. Mo from Streamer, and then Streamer News at Streamer News on TikTok, where you're probably watching a little bit of this anyway. And the other thing, Twitter and Instagram.
Instagram now as well, yeah.
Instagram, yeah. I'm the worst editor-in-chief ever. But anyway.
Yeah, and obviously I'm on Twitter at JoshM_Jones. Be sure to check out the website, thestreamer.com. We are posting regular reviews, features, articles, news, all that great stuff. Shout out to the Streamer team as well. So yeah, thanks again for joining us for episode 1, and we'll see you next week for the next chapter.